after you set up Windows 10, you'll want to make sure that it opens things in the applications that you want it to open things in. Now, this is one area I'm a little disappointed with Microsoft on. They're really pushing the UWP apps here and making it a little more difficult to use other applications. But I will show you where these are. There's two different places we need to look. One is the default apps in the settings, and the other are the autoplay settings under devices. So first of all, let's take a look at the default apps. I'm going to go over here to settings, and then I have one called apps, and here's default apps. So here you can see I can choose for email, maps, music player, and so on what I want to use. However, unfortunately, it makes it a little bit difficult for me to choose anything other than, well, let's take this one as an example. For my web browser, it does allow Chrome, Firefox, because I have those installed. Or I can look in the store for any other applications that or other apps that I want to use for a web browser. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't allow me to choose another application on my system if it's not a Microsoft Store app. Let's take Maps, for example. I'll go to Maps, and you see I have the built-in Maps app or another one on the Microsoft Store. So that doesn't leave me an option to find something I can render maps in on my system if it's a standalone program or a legacy style program. There's a different way that I have to go about it if I want to do that. You can see I can also choose by file type, that is to say the extension, file extension, but we're going to get the same thing if we do it that way. And I'm going to pause for a moment while this thing populates. Alright, it has populated now. Let's go on down to the DOC, which is one of the early forms of Word document file types. Here's DOCX, that one will do. So I'll click this, and you'll see again I've got Word, File Viewer Lite, or look in Microsoft Store. Well, what if I had another program and it just didn't show up here? I don't really have an option. Well, there is another way I can do that. If I actually just find a, let's close this guy down, try this again. If I actually just find a document, let's see if I have one here. Yeah, here's a DOCX, and I right click on that and go to Properties. Here you see I have it open in Microsoft Word, or Change, and here if I want to I can say More Apps, and well, I don't see one there, but now I have an option, look for another app on this PC, and I can actually navigate right to any application that I want, so I'm not stuck with UWP apps. So here's, for example, C program files, and if I had some other application here, I could force it to open in that application rather than some UWP style app. So I'm a little happier with this older system of doing it rather than the newer system. The other one that I wanted to show you was the autoplay settings here in Settings, Devices, Autoplay. So we're going to go back to Settings and then Devices, and then down to autoplay. So if I put in a removable drive, a memory card, for example, or a DVD, for example, I can say, well, what do you want me to do? Do I want to open it in File Explorer, ask every time, scan it with my security scanner? In other words, how do I want do I want to play it in Windows Media Player, open it and import it into the Photos folder, and so forth. So this is kind of handy for removable media. Alright, in the next video we'll take up the power and sleep settings, and we'll see how far we can get in what will this be, part 5, I believe.